Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, the legal and government correspondent, and today my guest is City Councilman Mike Kennedy. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it seems like yesterday, but it was two years ago that you were here.
Right.
And you ran unopposed the first time.
I did.
To Hudson City Council. But just as a refresher, because it has been a couple years, so where do you live, and talk about your district,
Okay.
and then we'll get into why you're running again. All right.
The hard-cutting questions, yeah. So I'm District 4, and when I was running 2 years ago, that was sort of a newly formed district, new boundaries. Red Cedar Canyon and Bannerman Farms and kind of the area in between there. So as I represent those, but obviously as for City Council, we kind of hear from everyone, even outside the city borders. So that's the district I'm in. It was. I was surprised that I'm running unopposed again. Makes it a little easier. I'm not doing as much door knocking feverishly in the snowstorms.
Sure.
But yeah.
Well, we talked about last time you were on why you're running and everything. Somebody's got to do the job, right? So just the fact that you've been on, so in the last 2 years, do you regret running? I mean, are you glad that you did this? Obviously, you're running again. So talk
Right.
a little bit about why you're running again.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think it was. I love the job. I do. I think I might have mentioned I love the city. I love this job too. And I've had some background working the park board. I've been on the park board for quite some time. So, I had a little insight there of how some of the departments work together and how the money has to flow to the everyone's got their pet project, et cetera. So I've really enjoyed the last 2 years going from sort of drinking out of a fire hose, as they say, to start with. But I think we have a really good council. I think we've put a lot of things in the past in the last 2 years, and on just a lot of different topics and subjects. I really like how we have diverse opinion, diverse thoughts on things, and I think if it could be said in politics, I think we all are truly, respectful of each other and really get along well. And we all have a kind of a common goal. We might get to it different ways, but it's really been fulfilling, and I really liked it. So
Okay, so that's why you're running
after
again.
2 years, I'm running again. Yeah.
Now, obviously, when you're running 2 years ago, you didn't know what committees you would be on, but what committees have you served?
Right. So I'm still on the park board, which is great. I like that very much, and I'm on Public Works.
Okay.
And so that's one thing I think. Obviously, if you drive by our parks or use our parks, that's the park system. But Public Works, especially in the last couple of days, you really see that out there. Our crew out there, starting Sunday morning till I still saw some plows and stuff cleaning up today. So that's a real nuts and bolts ones. I mean, they talk about the real blocking and tackling when there's storms and when there's snow to plow and potholes to fill, and so that's been rewarding too. And one of the things we worked on, we've really looked at rather than kicking the can down the road and just patching a street here and maybe doing a little sewer work there. The Public Works and obviously City Council, we've added, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's about $1 million to $1.5 million over the next 3 years to not just play catch up with our roads, but actually take a real look at the rating that they have and try to stay consistent with the upkeep. It's a better investment, more bang for the buck. And again, we're not just kicking the can down the road saying, let's put up with it and maybe next year we'll be able to afford it. So things like that are great rewards to see how that can start as an idea and kind of fulfill itself.
Well, it's great that you're able to continue to work on the Parks Board because you've got experience there. But when it comes to Public Works, it really is, like you said, the nuts and bolts of, people expect out of their city government public safety and clean streets, right? And good roads that they can drive on. So with that, what would be one of the things or two things that you were proud of, whether it came out of your committee or just overall action taken by the city council in the last 2 years that you're glad to be part of?
Okay, yeah, and I'll actually define those kind of by the two different groups I'm with, and I won't take all night. But for example, being on the parks, and you're right, I love that that was continued. If you look back 2 years ago to now, I mean the list I could rattle off of the boat ramp that I've heard nothing but great things about. The wharf that we haven't even opened it yet, and there's a few questions about it. But it's such a great improvement down there for people, our taxpayers, to be able to access that river. We've done a little improvements. Again, I won't go through the whole list, but just some really neat things that we've been able to do for the parks. And sharpen our pencil, make sure we're not just on a spending spree, but bring along projects that will just kind of allow that investment to allow citizens to enjoy our parks, and that's why most people come here for Hudson. As far as public works, like I mentioned, we have a little bit more aggressive policy now on keeping up the roads. We just passed a couple weeks ago that both Public Works and Public Safety have been working on for about a year, a traffic calming policy.
Okay.
In the past, which is probably pretty normal for a lot of cities, a complaint or about a pothole or whatever, or in this case a safety thing on the streets, the city hall will get a phone call, the police might be brought in to discuss it, and we just kind of play whack-a-mole and go, let's go after that, we can't do anything about this, I'll get around to that. So this policy actually puts together a way for citizens to contact our city through the website. Obviously, we'd still take a phone call too. And then that kind of becomes a ticket, if you will. Like if you have computer problems, you get an IT ticket.
Yep.
This is similar to that. So it'll be time stamped. It'll be put in the right department. If it's a speeding issue or stop sign issue or whatever.
Or maybe how about the timing of the stoplights at Vine and Carmichael?
That could be a category. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that. And so people can feel good about that they're being heard.
Okay.
And they may not, it may not fix their problem tomorrow. It may not even take away all their problems, but it will be addressed the best way we can. Not everyone, as human beings, choose to drive the speed limit or not run stop signs. But this is a really a neat program where we can tell the citizens, we heard you, and now we're not just going to write it down on a pink slip and hand it to someone. It's going to go into our system, and then we're going to walk it through the system and address that issue. And so you can kind of keep up with how your issue is doing, and hopefully we can solve it or at least bring the speeds down or something. So those have been really, really rewarding to be part of that.
Now, looking ahead, obviously you, barring some huge write-in campaign, will be reelected. So what are you excited to tackle in the next 2 years?
Yeah, another question that's kind of hard to answer by being very limited because there are so many things that I'm really looking forward to. One thing that comes to mind is that for the last 2 years, we've sort of been working on both the police needing a new home and our public works, which desperately needed a new home. And it's not just to upgrade the building or have niceties. Our public works is right now in 4 different areas, 4 different buildings.
Very decentralized.
Very decentralized, and some of them are just, there's, well, I won't get into the facts there, but much needed. And so we've been knowing that this is coming down the road, and so we thought, well, that means finding property, building a brand new building, the moving costs, et cetera. And luckily, just by the hard work of our staff, being on their toes, and we've actually found 2 buildings in the city that they already exist and are made available. So talk about, I'll steal another council person's line, but what a great recycling that is, rather than building from scratch. Well, the reason I'm excited about that is that it's putting on a much faster track to get the staff, the buildings that they need. It's in the locations that are, we're not cutting corners and saying, well, I guess that'll do. These are premium locations that they wanted to be in. And obviously we purchased the buildings and now we have to put some money into them. However, no matter how conservative you are with the numbers, we'll probably in the next 4 years save about $8 million that would have had to have been earmarked for those uses, and we'll be up and running faster and way, way, way under budget. So I'm excited about that. It's going to take still a lot more to talk about on that, but that's an exciting next phase for Hudson.
All right. And any others that you are, issues that you follow? Obviously, just because you're on Public Works Committee and Parks, that you only deal with those issues. The other ones come up for debate, and you get to chime in whether you're on that committee or not. But what do you see as any other issue that seems to be getting public attention, or at least you get feedback from citizens on?
Yeah, I think right now we're currently we're going through some of the downtown planning, the overlay district, the historic district, and the DNR takes part of that. So that'll definitely be a topic that everyone has an opinion on.
Yes.
I think and it has been said that our goal is to simplify, not only just for developers coming in, but even the common homeowner that says, hey, I want to put a fence in. I wonder how big it can be and how.
Right.
It's been a mess, and when usually trying to find out information, what that does is it takes a lot of time from our city departments. And some of these people have a lot of stuff on their desk, and to figure out how big the dog kennel can be or how close to the neighbors. So we've tried to put this all in one, I'll just say, quote, easy to read document, but basically just a one source to go and look at. And then rather than, if it happens to be downtown or down by the river somewhere, rather than getting your information from the DNR and then looking at the historic and then what our city says, what we're attempting to do is put it all into one document, if you will. So it's a clear answer, and people can do some of the research themselves. So there's going to be a lot of discussion about that, because decisions the city makes, we can't point and shoot at anything. We have to take the DNR. We're working alongside of them for them to kind of guide us on that. So I think that's going to be the kind of the next thing that might spark the letters of the editor and the Facebook posts.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be a hot one. So.
Well, and you mentioned the downtown development, and there's an overall plan. I mean, I know that there's a tax incremental financing district, and you've got the comprehensive city plan. So how does all of that fit in? But each project's got to be judged on its merits, and it has a process that it has to go through. And so you hear from people on those things, even though you don't have it as an individual, anything you can do about it particularly. Right.
And I think that it's, if a particular neighborhood has an issue, but I'm not in that neighborhood, I just, most people say, well, that's not part of me. But people love the river and they love our historic downtown. So they may not even live there, and they may only visit once or twice a year, let's say.
Right.
But they have, they're very involved in that. I would say the 75% of the contact I have with people are not necessarily in my district or about issues that are specifically about my district. It's, hey, you're on city council, help me understand this, or who can I talk to about that? And some of it is, hey, I heard in the paper that this building's coming in, and I want to talk to you about that. So, and that's my role too. I can't just say, hey, talk to your other council person. I take that too. So.
Well, I didn't get a chance to see at the Booyah this year. Last year we had a good chat, and I think you owe me a beer somewhere. So that's we have to catch up. So I'll bend your ear about a project or two.
Right. Well, I run the beer tent at Booyah 2 years in a row. I haven't been kicked out yet. So yeah.
Great. But how do people, if they do have a question, how do they get a hold of you?
So most people contact me probably through email is probably the easiest. district4@hudsonwi.gov.
Okay.
I have that right.
And it's district and the number 4?
District and the number 4.
Okay.
And then you could do that for any district, and whatever number, 1 through 6, at hudsonwi.gov.
All right.
And I think, I'm on Facebook. A lot of times people call City Hall and they patch me through. So,
okay.
yeah.
Great. And Also, is there any other issues that you wanted to discuss before we sign off here? I wanted to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I just appreciate the support I've had. Rather than I've gotten a lot of feedback. Rather than just this is something that I desire to continue to do. I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, you are running again, aren't you?" So I really appreciate the people that have noticed that it is. You say it's a thankless job, but actually I get a lot of thank yous. So I think people do realize that. Although it is a lot of work and time outside of everyone's normal life, I appreciate that support. So I'm just looking forward to, I think Hudson has so many good things that we're either just, wrapping up right now. Again, I'll bring up the wharf, Prospect Park. I don't know if you've been up there and seen the new overlook. That's just beautiful. The ride share program, I can go on and on. So I think we have so many good things coming for Hudson. We will have some issues as developments change the look of our downtown.
Yep.
I don't think we can say we're done. I think we say, let's do this in a smart way. I just think that Hudson's on a great roll. Again, as I look back to 2 years ago, we were talking about getting out of COVID.
Right.
We were talking about maybe some issues socially on social media of the council people battling or whatever
Wars and stuff, yeah.
Right, and I think we've successfully put that behind us. And again, this boat doesn't steer itself. It needs people to kind of keep one hand on the wheel and keep an eye on what's not just next month or next budget, but 5 or 10 years down the road. So and as a final thing, we're also bringing in a new city administrator. Which was an interesting process, and I really appreciate how the council worked together and the mayor. And I think we picked a good person that will be a good fit to Hudson, and we'll balance between that and some fresh ideas from the outside. I think we've got a good team, if you will, put together for the future.
Excellent. Well, I'll add one more thank you then that you get. Thank you for your service. I do appreciate it. I know you're not doing it for the big bucks, but having been in public service, I know that
Right.
It takes a commitment. So thank you for doing that. And I'm not even a Hudson resident, but we all benefit in this community when Hudson is doing things strong, and we've got good schools and good parks.
Well,
and
thanks to
good
you,
police.
your work too. So
Yeah,
with the school.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank our viewers for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. This is Mike Kennedy, a District 4 council person. Remember, that's how you can reach him through the city website. And I want to encourage everyone to get out and vote next week on April 2nd, and keep watching.